Hey y'all, Andrew Finney here. You might have noticed home prices are dropping fast. With the Fed's aggressive rate hikes freezing the real estate market, it looks like the 2023 housing crash starts now. Many economists forecasting home price appreciation earlier this year are quickly downgrading their monthly reports every time the Fed says boo. Let's look at the housing markets losing value faster than cryptocurrency. This analysis is courtesy of a recent Redfin post. In their report, Redfin found 20 major metros bouncing down the rabbit hole toward home price depreciation. This study ranks the changes in the year-over-year housing market stats from February 2022 to August 2022. Now, it's going to get a bit nerdy here, so bear with me so you can get the total value of what comes next. The results are analyzed using the Redfin Compete Score, which shows an area's competitiveness on a 0 to 100 scale, where 100 is the most competitive. We'll clue in on two columns. The first one is the change in price per square foot, or PPSF for short. The second is the change in sale to list ratio. This column reflects the percentage of what a home sold for versus the list price of a property. Essentially, did it sell for more or did it sell for less than the list price? That's what it shows. To keep this video short, sweet, and savory for you, we'll look at the 5 hardest hit real estate markets before moving on. Then we'll talk about why the housing market is on lockdown and what it might mean for you going into 2023. Leading the herd, Seattle, Washington dropped 17.7 points in the PPSF with a list to sell ratio of negative 10.1 points. Next is Las Vegas, Nevada, where I live, work, and play. We've seen negative 14.5 points in price per square foot and homes dropping 4.6 points from their list price to sales price ratio. San Jose, California takes number 3, losing negative 17.6 points in PPSF, shedding 14.7 points on their list price to sales price ratio since February 2022. Number 4, sunny San Diego, California clocks negative 15.8 points off their PPSF, losing 6.1 points from their list price to sales price. Rounding out number 5, it's a tie between Sacramento, California and Denver, Colorado. Sacramento gets sacked with negative 17 points on their PPSF while letting go of 4.6 points off their list price to final sales price. Denver freezes out 12.2 points off their PPSF while chilling negative 5.7 points from their list price to sales price ratio. As we can see, some of the hottest places to move over the past couple of years are cooling off rapidly. What are you seeing in your local housing market? Drop us a line below and let us know. Thank you. Naturally, with significant changes come big questions that need to be answered. For example, how does such a hot real estate market go stone cold in just a few months? And what does that mean for us going into 2023? Is it all doom and gloom, or is there an opportunity amidst the chaos? That's a matter of perspective, and we'll talk about it in just a bit. For now, Lawrence Yun, the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, or NAR for short, gives us a clue about the current housing market in this Forbes article. Lawrence says the housing sector is the most sensitive to the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes, and the softness in home sales reflects this year's escalating mortgage rates. According to Mortgage News Daily, the current mortgage rates are at 20-year highs, coming in at just over 7%. George Ratiu is the manager of economic research with Realtor.com. He had this to say about the impact of mortgage rates on today's home buyers. The buyer of a median-priced home at today's rate and using a 30-year mortgage is looking at a monthly payment that is almost $900 higher than a year ago, which adds more than $10,000 to the yearly financing burden. Because of the high home prices and soaring mortgage rates, it's like someone pulled the emergency brake on the housing market. This is causing a significant slowing in the real estate market. In a recent post by CNBC, they found sales of previously owned homes fell 0.4% in August from July to a seasonally adjusted annualized rate of 4.8 million units, or homes that sold. This represents the slowest sales pace since June 2020, when activity stalled very briefly to the start of the pandemic. You might remember that and just how crazy that time period was. To put it another way, it's the slowest pace since November 2015 for homes that are selling. Maybe that's why we're seeing so many housing report downgrades like this one from Zillow. They now suggest homes will appreciate by just 1.2% through August 2023. For reference, this marks Zillow's 6th housing market downgrade for 2022. To be fair, Zillow is not the lone wolf calling for a very slow rate of home appreciation in 2023. Joining their pack is CoreLogic, which projects a 3.8% increase in home values for 2023. In stark contrast, Ian Shepherdson, the chief economist for Pantheon Macro, is of a different persuasion. Ian said he expects the sustained decline in the sector through next spring, with prices falling as much as 20% from their peak by the middle of next year. Because of news like this, we've seen many people becoming increasingly worried real estate is about to bottom out, and they fear buying a house in a down market. That's fine. People are going to believe what they choose to believe anyways, just being a pragmatic realist. That said, the serious buyers and sellers that look past the noise will have an opportunity, in part because many others are at the beach looking to catch the wave on the way to the crash. Between you and me, depending on their point of view, they will be there for a very long time waiting for the big one that won't come. I hope they brought plenty of sunscreen and something to eat. No, the opportunities in the market won't come easily, but if you plan it out, it will be worth it. Keep in mind, with every downside is an upside of shifting housing markets. For instance, both new home builders and sellers are offering more reasonable incentives or amicable negotiations. You can see a post like this one on CNBC about builder sentiment, or this one on CNN, and say, well, Andrew, no one wants to buy, so why should I? Well, that's a fair question. Did you know many builders have dropped their prices or they're offering incentives, including lower interest rates and buyer closing costs? Something to think about and something to consider. Likewise, home sellers are starting to realize the era of insane bidding wars is over for the most part. So sellers, there is still an excellent opportunity to sell your house. You'll just need to temper your expectations to the reality and be reasonable. If you have unrealistic expectations, then you're probably going to miss the boat and wish you had taken action in the future. So I ask you not to buy into all the hype that you see. The market is not where it was in 2008 by a long shot. But yes, the housing market is undoubtedly due for a price correction. But the nonsense out there about 50% plus price drops, waves of foreclosures, and it being the worst time in a generation to buy, it's just a bunch of bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Time reveals all. You'll see what I'm talking about when it does. Just like in the past videos I shared about predictions, forecasts, trends, and even live streams during the onset of the pandemic. But to be very clear, a housing correction is coming for many housing markets, and no, a housing crash is not the same as a correction. For one, the word crash is a negative trigger word to cause fear and impulsive action, even if an action is just to click a video or click a post to make a sale later on or pick up some ad revenue. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. That's what it is. However, a correction is an optimal term because it is true of the current situation. In most cases, it does not cause a primal trigger in your brain, resulting in an impulse decision. Additionally, a housing correction also accounts for facts and metrics, including housing affordability, supply of homes, housing demand, economic health on the local, state, and national level, job opportunities, wages, and the cost of living, to name just a few. So if you want me to explain more about this, let me know in the comments. I'm delighted to separate truth from lies. Click here to find out the questions to think through before making your move. I'll see you in that video. If not, I'm sending you positive vibes. Everything goes your way until I see you again. Oh, are you still here? Well, that's weird. Just click here and we'll catch up there. Thanks for watching.